Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Darren Aronofsky's Mother in 2017. Now, I watched this film tonight for the first time, and the only previous film I'd seen from Darren Aronofsky was The Wrestler. And if you want to see one of the most masterful character studies of the 21st century, and Mickey Rourke gives just one of the greatest performances. Watch that film; it's an absolutely stunning piece. That's the only film I'd seen before this, and of course, Requiem for a Dream. It's been on my watch list for many years now. Of course, that's a controversial film, and this is no exception. This is probably his most controversial film, and one of the most controversial in recent years. There was people walking out the cinemas. It's not done great, overall, despite what some say. Critically, it's not that acclaimed too much. IMDb, it's quite low. And just generally people, a lot of people just calling this film trash. So I was really intrigued because I really knew nothing about it, other than it was, meant to be very religious. So I watched this film and, I just finished it about half an hour ago. And what I will say is, yes, it is one of the most disturbing films in recent years, and the last half an hour is mental. I will have to say, before I do this review, it's not going to be, as like my normal reviews in a sense. And I do have to give a warning because it is, if you can't, stomach certain things, there's a lot of graphic stuff towards the end, stuff that I never thought I'd actually see, and it's absolutely, it really is disturbing. I can understand if it's not for everyone really, this film, but I do think it's highly underrated, and I don't quite get until the end how many people have called this film it's just crap, and how people have walked out in the cinemas so much. I don't really. I think this is an absolutely stunning film, and I think maybe it is quite misunderstood in a lot of areas. But yes, the basic plot, I cannot give quite a lot of plot details. I never usually do anyway, but because it would just spoil it, and I'm not going to say what I think the meaning of the film is too much because, that, as always as well, that's kind of not what I do. In a normal review, that's not what I would want to do. Maybe in a spoiler-free one or an analysis video, yes, but in a normal review, find out for yourself what you take from it and what you think it means, kind of thing. There's many different things, and actually, I don't fully understand everything that happened. I usually do with a lot of films on a first watch, but this is one of the ones that a lot of different things throughout the film open to interpretation. But yes, the basic plot is Jennifer Lawrence and her husband, played by Javier Bardem, basically in this very isolated house in the middle of nowhere. And he's a poet, an acclaimed one, and he's struggling from basically writer's block, basically. And it's about very early on, there's people come visit the house, and of course, if you've seen any trailers or pictures, there's quite a few people in that house at some point. So I won't ruin how it progresses, but yes, of course, it does progress the number of people in that house, and it's basically on a surface level in that sense, without ruining what other things what it is actually about in many areas. It's about their relationship, how it's how they struggle, and how these different visitors get in the way of that. Ed Harris is in the film, Michelle Pfeiffer, they're in it quite early on, and they're the first people that visit the house, and basically very mysterious. Ed Harris has got a cough, he seems very unwell, but many weird things go on with him and Javier Bardem. Different weird stuff. And Michelle Pfeiffer as well, and other people, members of the family, and stuff like that. It just progresses. Really, this film, that's all I can say. In terms of the plot, for the most part, it's an experience. And it is a surreal film. It's very very different. But in all the best ways for me. I've not seen a film like this actually in quite a few, in actual recent years, that's come out in the past few years, should I say. I still don't know there's so much I'm still, kind of processing. But I think this is definitely a highly underrated film. It's instantly connected to this film. Was compelled by this film, masterful horror elements, the characters. Jennifer Lawrence's character, really just great, very vulnerable in this film. She gives a great performance. Many have criticised it. I don't see how it's one of her best, if not her best. She's just wonderful in this film, and I don't know why this is the one that gets the most kind of criticism. Javier Bardem once again proves that he's one of the best actors working today. He is stunning in this film. Now it's a very very complex character that he plays. The way that it progresses over the film, once again without ruining it, is off the charts. What happens at the end and stuff, and you compare that to it's something else really, and the range of emotions that he portrays. Ed Harris in his kind of supporting side character role is great in this film, and I've always loved Ed Harris. He's a great actor. Michelle Pfeiffer as well, she was really great in this film. It's a very erotic film, this. You will catch on to very very quickly. But yes, what I was just finding that this is just first of all, it began very very tranquil and peaceful, and I think that Darren Aronofsky captured that perfectly. That the location, just the sense of time and place, was wonderful. I was finding it a very very human film as well. And actually very early on as well, the way it dealt with death was just really really touching. It was very very moving, and very spiritual, and the cinematography in this film is wonderful. For the most part, it is a lot of handheld, point of view kind of shots and stuff like that, and over the shoulders. Kind of just mainly follows Jennifer Lawrence, her character, and kind of from her point of view a lot of the time, which gives it even more of an uneasy feel, and it's kind of everything happens around her, so that was a great choice in that sense. There's not a lot of static shots, you could say, and sometimes in modern films that can be something that will compared with classic films and stuff. It's not as good, but this is one of the films that does manage to actually kind of perfect that. I would also say Tree of Life have done that perfectly, with the just the all kind of always flowing camera, and handheld camera. And the way this film's shot is wonderful. The lighting is really great. The editing as well, it's a very very dreamlike effect it has at times, and there is kind of dream sequences and in a sense, without ruining too much, but it's very very an ambiguous film, and the way it ends as well. I did get the ending, the actual ending. Like I knew what they were saying there with that actual ending, and it's very very disturbing, extremely disturbing ending. But there's more different moments throughout the film before that are actually hard to see what they actually mean. Very ambiguous. But judging it as an actual piece of cinema, and as a horror, as a thriller, it has everything that you'd expect. It's just if you have the patience, and you kind of you try and see with an open mind what it's trying to say, then yeah, I think you should read it. But of course, as I've said, it's very very graphic, and it's very disturbing scenes. And I don't usually say that, but this is really excessive stuff. I've never actually quite seen one of the things that happens at the end of this film, in a film ever. And it wasn't done in it wasn't done in an exploitive way or anything like that. It was just very very shocking. But just throughout this film, the storytelling, in every area, visually, and just the script as well is really wonderful. I think it's very very thought provoking. And of course, most of the controversy is from that, the kind of allegorical nature that it has, and of course, it's angered a lot of, it's because of all the religious kind of undertones and stuff it has. But I think it was done in a really sincere way. It was excessive at the end. It was mental, but it was to serve the story. It wasn't, a pretentious kind of in your face message in that. I didn't find that at all. you know, I just think it was yeah, it was just part of the story. You know, it just felt right. You know what happened there, and of course, very unexpected stuff. But in that sense, I didn't think it was exploitative or pretentious or anything like that. This film has been called pretentious. You know, I really did. I think this is an underrated film. I think it's a very, very misunderstood film. It's hard to explain, but yeah, just watch it and find out. You know, of course, there's some people that love it, me included. You know, I absolutely adored this film from start to finish. And of course, there's people, a lot of people have hated the film. You know, and yeah, it's fine, of course, if you don't quite get this film, if you don't like it. You know, it's obviously not for everyone. Very, very, disturbing stuff, and it's very, very different. But I think it's thoroughly human, emotional film. You know, beautiful, beautiful film. You know, it does take a turn in the final act. There's something that is just insane. You know, but I think the final act is absolutely stunning in, you know, how effective the horror elements are, and just the way it comes together is really, you know, something that is vision. You know, it's very, very bold. Darren Aronofsky, of course, written and directed by him, and it's just something very, very visionary. I feel it's a stunning film. I really couldn't floor it. You know, it was something very, very shocking in that sense. But it was always thoroughly compelling. You know, and I think it goes from, you know, the peaceful beginnings, the tranquil beginnings, to an insane and hellish final act. But really, every moment of this film was stunning. You know, and very, very creepy, atmospheric. You know, as a horror film, as a thriller, it just is perfect, really. And also, of course, as a kind of human drama, it's stunning. You know, I absolutely was completely moved by this film, and Jennifer Lawrence's wonderful performance, very vulnerable performance, as I've said, and it's just that the relationship her and Javier Bardem have, you know, their characters, very, very. It's just a wonderful, beautiful relationship that is constantly compelling and very complex. And I just think that all the side characters in this film as well are always memorable. And just the key word here in this film is progression. You know, just the way it progresses. It is a constant, you know, unfolding of events that is done in such a way that really it can only be called a masterpiece. I really think it is. Of course, I'll be quite on my own with this, calling it a masterpiece, calling it pretty much a flawless masterpiece. You know, I didn't really have any issues with it. Of course, very disturbing final act, but you know, that's just what it was. I can't floor that at all. You know, it was something that really very disturbing, but it was stunningly executed. And for me, I'd have to give this film 100%. I think it's really pretty much a flawless film. Something else. Very unique vision, wonderfully acted by everyone involved, especially Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. Wonderful performances. You know, it's just a beautiful film, spiritual, very emotional piece of filmmaking, and you know, just written so well, and you know, very, very unique and everything. You know, it kind of plays out like a fantasy at times, but very, very grounded. And just the way it deals with life and death, you know, the way what it says about that is really something very, very touching. And of course, you probably won't understand everything on the first watch. You know, I didn't. And you know, of course, there's many films in cinema where people would say, you know, a final act of a film, you know, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, what is that? You know, and stuff like that. I'm one of the people that actually kind of understood that film more than, you know, this basically is a film that kind of stumped me more than an ending, final act like that. You know, so you know, it is one of them ones that you probably definitely have to rewatch to fully understand everything. But in terms of execution, in terms of how much I connected with it on a level, you know, an emotional level, and you know, visually, and just spiritually, I feel that it's just it's perfect in that way, and I connected with all of it. So yeah, I will have to rewatch to find all the the underlying meanings and everything. But it explores many themes and explores them with ease. Really, it's a stunning film, a masterpiece. I did not expect to say that, and I didn't expect much from this film. Really, it just interested me, and of course, I always wanted to see all of Darren Aronofsky's films. And yeah, I don't quite think that I prefer this to The Wrestler or anything like that, but it's not quite on that level, but it's another masterpiece, and yeah, highly recommend it. But I'd say, of course, be aware that it is very disturbing. I can't quite give a full warning, but just be warned that the final act of this film, especially, is something that will probably shock you, very much so, and yeah, it's something I've not quite seen before, really. What they do, but it's a stunning film, complete vision, disturbing, but also beautiful, emotional, and yeah, just wonderful filmmaking in every way, and wonderful performances. Stunning film. Mother. Thanks for watching my review.